How?
If remote viewing works, is it any more than a laboratory curiosity? After all, compared to normal vision, it seems pretty feeble. But in Los Angeles, one company thinks it can be exploited commercially.
Good afternoon, Mobius.
Mobius was founded 6 years ago by Stephan Schwartz, a 40-year-old ex-Navy consultant.
Okay, all right.
From small beginnings, it now has 10 psychics on the payroll.
Well, Mobius was set up to not only explore what psychic functioning is, but also what we can do with it. I think we've reached a point now in the last 100 years of research that we can say a reasonable man is willing to accept the idea that psychic functioning is a reality. And the question then becomes, well, what can we do with it?
This girl has been murdered. Stabbed. It's very bloody. And I see this strange, kind of narrow room where the murder was committed. It's almost maybe like a mobile home. I think the man who did it is dark.
For $5,000, Mobius will help you solve a murder case. The use of psychics by the police has a long and controversial history. Some report successes, others abysmal failures, and 2 controlled studies found psychics were useless. But Schwartz has a new system.
He might have tattoos on his arm.
I see a tattoo on his arm. The man is olive-complected, dark brown hair, brown eyes. He has a mustache. He's very clear in my mind's eye right now.
In the same way that a journalist would talk to a lot of eyewitnesses, we have several psychics, each picking up the same information, and then average out their reports and come to some general consensus of what did in fact happen.
And I see him driving.
We need to stop thinking of this as something that is occult or weird. We need to begin to think of this as a kind of remote sensing technique that has a signal-to-noise problem.
Lancaster County Police Headquarters in Pennsylvania. Recently, they asked Stephan Schwartz to get his psychics to work on 2 unsolved cases. The one we saw earlier is still sub judice, but the district attorney, Michael Rank, was prepared to talk about the other, the case of a missing girl.
I sent Mr. Schwartz a photograph of the missing girl and told him that we had a 14-year-old girl who was missing and we'd like to know her whereabouts and her condition.
2 psychics were given this photograph and nothing else.
Both of the respondents indicated that we had a dead person rather than just a missing person who was alive, some unknown location. Both of the respondents gave a cause of death, which at the time seemed to be paradoxical. One said that the cause of death was suffocation. The other said, I believe she was struck on the head. That didn't make any sense at the time, but when we discovered the remains, that turned out to be exactly what happened. She had had a stocking stuffed in her mouth, which caused a blockage of her throat airway. She had been struck on the cheek, causing fractures which extended into the sinus area, which would have caused bleeding to block the nasal passages. So after she was struck on the head, the bleeding blocked her airways and caused her to suffocate.
Rank said the psychics were also accurate about where they'd find the body.
It's impressed me enough to try it when we don't have anything else going. I think that naturally you couldn't use this as an investigative technique in every case. But if you've run down all your leads and you've got no place else to go, I think that it can give you some fresh approaches and it can stimulate the thought processes of the investigators.
Mobius have also gone into archaeology. In 1977, they located an unknown sunken ship. But their biggest project was to get psychics to find a buried city near Alexandria. Archaeologists already knew the city was somewhere in a 200-square-mile area. Schwartz's psychics were spot on first time, locating this building and even describing some of the objects that would be found.
The psychic is a kind of remote sensing device which will provide us with a signal that has useful information in it. This is not a cure-all. It is not a magic bullet. It is not weird. It is a new tool that needs to be studied and that I think has a contribution to make to both science